Oh my gosh. Imagine if we just had another intro video. Nothing but intro videos. Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited. I'm your host, Chris Duffy, and welcome to Wrong Answers Only Live. On today's show, you and our panel of comedians are going to learn all about attraction and relationships. We will also find out what our expert is like when he is not studying hookups, dating, relationships, and heartbreak. And this is an interactive show, okay? So we want you to be involved. We've got audience microphones at either side of the stage, and we're gonna do our best to get to your questions multiple times. If you're watching on the live stream at home, put your questions in the chat. We have a producer who is watching that and gonna relay those questions back to me, and so we will get to you multiple times as well. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching wherever you are watching. And let's get into it. Today we have an incredible panel of comedians who are going to be playing. We've got Karen Chee, Lisa Gilroy, and Lily Du. Give a big round of applause. All right. And now let's find out who today's expert is. I could tell you about him, but better than me explaining his work, let's have him tell you about himself. Here's a video.
One of the common things that we do is we look at who people are initially attracted to. So 15 years ago, we were doing that using speed dating, right? We were bringing undergraduates in to these settings where you would have a number of single people and they'd all get a chance to date each other and tell us what they thought of each other. And then we'd actually sort of give them each other's contact information after the fact. And, these were real high stakes events. You can see all kinds of things like, who was popular, who was less popular, did men and women really differ, and the kinds of things that they liked. So we really got started doing attraction research in those kinds of settings. A second approach that we use is we look at established couples. So in many of these kinds of designs, you'll recruit couples to partake in studies. And what you'll often do is ask them to complete a bunch of questionnaires over an extended period of time. Hi, I'm Paul Eastwick. I'm a professor of psychology. I study the social psychology of how people think about potential and actual romantic partners and how they try to maintain close relationships over time.
And Paul, thank you so much for being on the show and letting us talk to you about your work.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I will also say that the people who are watching on the live stream are extremely excited about you. It's
right.
Someone has written in all caps,
Horny.
Eastwick, kind of.
Horny for science.
Horny for science. Eastwick, my goat. That's my prof right there. Get him out here. Which is just like, that's such desperate grade grubbing in the comments,
A pluses.
Okay.
All around.
Well, panelists, you're going to get a chance to talk to Paul a lot over the course of this show. But this is your first opportunity to ask a relationship expert anything you want to know. We call this You Do What. And Karen, what is the first thing that you want to know?
Hi. Okay, I'm Karen. I am single, and so my question is why?
It's a process.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes a while.
No, I got that part down.
And
But what about Karen specifically
Yeah, what about me?
is keeping her single?
Now, be careful.
well,
I'm not sure this is wise to answer so
yes.
directly.
Often the challenges are structural rather than anything
Personal.
than personal,
Nothing's
right?
wrong with me or my body.
Exactly. It's probably who you're meeting.
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
Men are trash.
There
Their
you go.
bodies
Scientifically.
are
There you go.
wrong.
Lisa, what's your first question that you want to know?
I guess, okay, so there's something, you were talking about speed dating.
Yeah.
So what's something, if someone comes in with an energy right away, that's like a
Yeah.
red flag,
Yeah.
what is to you red flag speed dating energy? Something someone could exhibit in the first 10 seconds of meeting someone.
I mean, I think I would be most freaked out if somebody seemed like they didn't want to be there and didn't want to talk at all. If they're enthusiastic and saying weird things, I might be into that. I'm more afraid of people who are too quiet.
Okay, so
And-
better to be
yeah.
sexually aggressive than to not at all.
Did not say sexually.
No, I think Paul was saying sexual aggression is favorable.
I'm
in
taking
comparison
notes.
to-
Yeah.
I'm in trouble.
Paul, we're going to have you just really quickly.
Yeah.
Wait, my question.
Oh, yes. We're just, his microphone is not working. So we're going to have you use my microphone
Okay.
right
We
now
have
while
a
they
mic coming
fix
right
it.
from behind.
Oh, great. Okay. No problem.
Yes. No.
What you missed is he said, Karen,
Check
there's
one.
nothing wrong
There
with
it
your
is.
body. And then he said, Lisa, it's good to be sexually aggressive, I believe.
Yeah. Students, take notes.
Yeah. So far, one, I would say one good and one definitely problematic
Yep.
answer.
Yep.
And Lily, what do you want to know?
Paul, I couldn't help but notice in your video there was a beautiful jug on your armoire. Blue,
Yes.
white, porcelain. Where
Yeah.
did you get that?
I think it was maybe a world market.
Oh, pretty
Wow.
affordable.
The market of the world.
Accessible.
Yep.
And is this something you talk about on dates?
Yes. First thing.
Wow.
Are you single?
No, I'm not.
Okay, stop dating.
I guess if you were single, we would guess you're bad at your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Do you think that's true? Like you?
No, absolutely not.
Because you were at one point you were studying relationships and you were single.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people go through phases of their lives, right? Where they're single and they can be studying the stuff. You get in relationships, but you kind of try to keep it, separate.
Okay, Paul, light question.
Yeah.
How many times have you been in love?
Ooh, great question.
How many times?
Counting
He's
a lot.
counting a
As many.
lot on his hands. His hands are moving.
He's doing long
I'm
division.
gonna go with 5.
Wow.
It took you that long.
Okay, so the science works, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Paul, speaking of relationships, you study all sorts of elements of relationships and attraction, the good stuff and the bad stuff.
Yes.
And so in this segment, panelists, I'm going to have you each think of a real relationship from your life, past or present, and Paul is going to help you to understand it. This is rose and thorn. Okay, so let's start with the good stuff. So panelists, can you share something that a previous partner did in a relationship that made you feel good or loved or attracted to them? I can start as an example, and I will say that my current wife, I don't mean that to be like she's only current, but I just want to explain that she is the person who I am now married
Emphasize
to.
current.
Yes.
Really hard.
At the time, she was not my wife, and there's no way to say that I can think of. But now that I said it that way, it may be current wife. So she understands that I need a lot more verbal affirmation than she does. So
You're doing great, by the way, Chris.
thank you so much. Okay.
Thumbs up.
I wanted to say, even knowing that's a joke, it really did mean something to me.
Round of applause for Chris, you guys.
Wow. Okay, so basically that is what my wife will do sometimes. Is she'll be like, okay, this guy needs it.
Uh-oh,
Hey, I love
current
you
wife
so
alert.
much. And that really, I do love that. Okay.
So an amazing thing about those kinds of dynamics in relationships is that even if you have talked about this situation, this pattern before, even if you know it's coming, it can still mean a lot to get the affirmation that you say you're looking for.
okay.
So it actually really doesn't diminish how nice the thing is that she's doing just because you asked her to do it ahead of time.
Okay. Lily, in your current relationship or a past relationship, what's something that someone did that made you feel good or loved or that you enjoyed?
Made me feel good.
Or attracted to them.
Loved or attracted to them. I have a 7-month baby at home, so my brain is fried, and all of a sudden I was like, I can't think of a single good thing my husband's ever done for me. The love of my life, the man I'm spending the rest of my life with. What has he done for me? I
Could
will
be a
say,
previous relationship. You don't have to pick an example from your current one.
current husband. I will say he it does clean the entire house every single night.
Okay.
I mean,
And I'm not, and he is.
it's really helpful when people find the chores and the tasks that they are happy to do. Like maybe he feels it's less onerous than you do, and so that makes it work.
But I have a kind of ungrateful attachment style where I go, forgot about that. What else are you not doing?
Okay. Lisa?
In 7th grade, I really liked Cole Gallagher, and I told him that I liked Nickelback. And then at Christmas, he put in my locker the Nickelback Silver Side Up CD.
Whoa. Okay, that's...
And you started liking Nickelback at that point.
No, she...
No, I like.
Oh, you actually
Already?
did
Wow,
like
girls
Nickelback.
can like
No,
Nickelback.
I just didn't. I thought
Not
it was
just
a
for
play.
boys.
Wow.
Never made it as a wise man. I couldn't cut it. Oh no. He's like, say the lyrics then. I can't.
I heard You Remind Me for the first time at a bar mitzvah when I was 12 years old. Brag. And I went up to the DJ and I said, "What is that song?"
It's good, right?
That is the best song I've ever heard. I didn't grow up listening to music.
Okay.
We broke up a week later.
Ooh, okay.
It was
that's
very
long.
thoughtful.
It was thoughtful,
It
yeah.
was very thoughtful.
For 7th grade, I feel like week is like a year.
Yeah.
That's a
Totally.
long relationship.
In dog years.
Yes, yes, yes.
Karen, what about for you?
The thing that's coming to mind is one time when I was dating somebody, the way I phrased it made it sound like a lie, but it's true. We were in Maine and it was very snowy and the snow had come up to like here. I'm kind of short and he was much taller. So he walked ahead of me and would take steps, but at the stride that my strides were, so that I could just step where he was stepping.
Wow.
Oh, this is like that poem about Jesus on the beach.
That's exactly
This is
who
the
I
most
dated.
romantic thing I've ever heard.
I know, I just heard the audience reaction. I was like, should I call him?
Yeah.
It's winter. It's snow season in Maine. Could be snowing.
Like the most important principle in relationships is what we call responsiveness, and I feel like that guy maybe had it.
Wait, tell what is? I actually don't understand what that
Right.
is.
So to be responsive, it's basically that you're able to respond to another person with understanding and validation and caring, and he cared about you enough to walk at the proper pace, right? He validated that his pace was not your pace.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty impressive.
You know, I also want to say, I think another person who did, what's this called again?
Responsiveness.
I think another person who had responsiveness was Cole from 7th grade.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And you're
Wait, also
your
my
partner
husband
too
is
with his
my
cleaning?
husband is
Yeah.
responsive.
Yeah. There you go.
Now I feel bad. Like, it makes it sound bad. People are gonna be like divorce.
Well, let's actually, now, perfect timing, let's go to the thorns. What is something that same partner does or did that sometimes can drive you crazy? And
It has to be the same partner?
no, you could choose a different person. You could choose a different
Oh, hold on.
Cole never did a single thing
Actually,
wrong.
I can think of something.
Okay, great. Yeah, mine will be. I think mine is something that many other people have had too, which is I do not believe that she loads the dishwasher correctly, and I feel like she willfully
What?
loads it incorrectly.
What is she doing wrong?
Well, I'll tell you one time. This is
a lot of
we're gonna
ways to
bring a
do
pet
it
peeve up. One time she put dish soap instead of dishwasher soap in it, and then
'Cause she hate you?
in like a Willy Wonka style, like filled the kitchen with bubbles, and then I cleaned all the bubbles up, and then the next day she came home and was like, at work, the women were all talking about how their men don't do anything to clean that, and I didn't say anything, and I was like, I spent all last night cleaning the bubbles out of the kitchen, and that has come up many times. That was 10 years ago. Okay, yes. So that is one for me. Okay, Lily, over to you.
Something that I didn't like they did while I was in a relationship
thorn.
with them.
Just a thorn, yeah.
Not after. I have an ex-boyfriend who we all thought wrote a one-man show about space, but then, Karen, you might know about this.
I instantly know who we're
I
talking
truly
about.
was like,
Okay, can I tell the audience?
It's
It's Matthew McConaughey, Interstellar.
He wrote the movie.
Yeah. One-man show.
This is this is not a character flaw. This is just me complaining. But then a friend of mine happened to see it, and she said, "It's not about space at all. It's about your relationship."
Oh.
And this person is still performing this show 9 years later.
Wow. Okay. What do you have to say about that, Paul?
That is a betrayal of sorts, and usually that would be the kind of thing that'd be hard for a lot of people to get past without a lot of discussion.
Never told me.
Yeah,
Okay.
that stuff.
Lisa? Could be about Cole, could be about others.
It's going to be about Cole. So in 7th grade, I also famously was the only one in my friend group that didn't have my period yet. So he was like, and I don't know what it was, and like, Paul, maybe you can explain this. He like came up to my locker and he was like, oh, and I was like going through something in my like backpack or something. He was like, what are you looking for, tampons? And now Cole didn't know that I didn't have my period, and it was like kind of like a sensitive topic for me because I really wanted it bad for some reason. And so I thought that he was making fun of me because he knew that I didn't have my period. But really, he thought that I did. So it was like kind of cool that he thought I would have had tampons in there, but I didn't. And so I started crying, and I like slammed my locker and walked away. And then he was like, "Guess she is on her period."
Oh.
So in a way, it was like kind of like a rude thing to say. But then for me, I was like, "Wait, he thinks I am." So.
Cole, if you're watching.
I want you back.
So we call that motivated reasoning. And that's when, somebody does something that many people would have found upsetting, but because you loved him so much, you actually found it very endearing that
Is that a toxic thing to do, or it's a good thing?
No, honestly, it's kind of necessary.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
But
wow.
sometimes could be toxic, right? Probably.
Can be. Right. And where's the line? The science does not know.
Okay.
Seems like that. I bet you that is science that a lot of people would personally fund.
Yeah. Yep.
You could find the line.
We're working on it, but that's the thing is motivated reasoning that really does help and protect relationships. All of a sudden, it's like, how did I get in a relationship with this toxic person 10 years later?
Okay, Karen?
Okay, I have been trying to think of a good thorn. The only one that I really can think about, which I feel like I can say here because whenever I tried to complain about it, it didn't sound like a big enough complaint, is to my college boyfriend, had told him, like, oh, I'm a huge fan of Parks and Rec. That show means so much to me. And he was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And I was like, great. And then he watched it, and he refused to learn any of the characters' names, but then would want to recount episodes with me. So he'd be like, the loud lady being loud at the mean man who hates government. And I would be like, I actually don't understand what you're saying, and you're ruining my show. What is that called?
Like failure to engage in shared reality?
Wow.
Wait,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
He was only going halfway to what you were asking him to do.
Yes.
And what is it called when your ex writes a show that you think is about space, but actually is about your relationship?
That one I really haven't seen before.
But wait,
The research still needs to be done.
I would say it sounds like that man is hung up on you.
yeah, Lily, wait, are you just
still doing
confused
the
with a show
show.
called I Need Space?
Well, Paul, you have done one study where you looked at a ton of real couples and you watched them interact and then you coded their interactions.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is a very common procedure in relationships research. You bring in couples, and what you basically say is, we know you have conflicts. Please have one right here in front of us, and we're going to code what you do, and you code the behaviors. There are positive behaviors and negative behaviors that you see, and then you use those codes to predict which couples are likely to last, under what conditions are they likely to last, and stuff like that.
How? And these are some of the codes that you look for, right? These are the things that you're coding for: positive
Yeah,
behaviors and
exactly.
negative. You want to just pull out a few of those, or also panelists, if there's anyone that you want to ask about here. Which ones do you think you see the most or that are most interesting?
So you actually usually see more positive than negative behaviors. And the reality is the negative ones can be so toxic that even just one interspersed in a 5-minute conversation can really color things pretty badly.
But do you sometimes feel like when you're watching them do their thing, they're on their best behavior?
Maybe for
They're
the
like, I
first...
hear you, Samantha.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
That's minute 1.
Oh,
And then it's...
and then you get them drunk.
Yeah. they snap right into their pattern.
How long do you watch them for?
No, it can be like 5-10 minutes. It doesn't have to be long.
Wait, have you decorated the space in any way to make it look like their home?
That's
World Market.
exactly what you do.
Wait, like a living room with a couch and
with
stuff?
World Market stuff.
With World Market stuff.
Shout out World Market, sponsor this show, this government-funded show.
Yeah, we should have announced that at the beginning. World Market presents relationship science. Do you ask? This is a question from the online audience. Do you ask couples to come in when they're going through rough patches specifically, or is it just completely random and then sometimes the argument gets deep and sometimes it's not?
So usually they're random. They've signed up to be part of the study, but it was inspired originally, in the 60s and 70s. These were couples counselors who wanted to learn, how do we help these couples? Well, we need to conduct the research. So what we know is how to bring people in and have them talk about their problems. So let's design research studies where we bring people in and have them talk about their problems. The difference was that instead of bringing in people who are already distressed, you're bringing in a range of people. So you do see a range of this stuff. People who are very distressed might be doing a lot of the stuff on the bottom. But if you bring in everyday folks, they're actually usually pretty good at the validation, the suggesting a plan of action, right? Those positive behaviors.
Okay, I want to get questions from you three, but also we're going to get audience questions. There's been a lot that we've talked about. So if you have a question, you can come up to one of these two microphones and we'll come to you in a second. So you can just line up there if you have a question. Okay, the three of you, what questions do you have right now so far for Paul? Based
What
on
if I
we've
do
been
a
doing?
lot of the bottom list, but like in a fun way? You know.
As long as your partner thinks it's fun at the time.
Yeah, we have fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like one of the things was like hostile lawyer-like questioning.
Yeah.
And I have friends who are a couple where both of them are lawyers, and I feel like they do a lot of that, but they seem to, they picked another lawyer. They knew what they wanted. Is that right?
That was probably them like turning each other on.
Yeah. Objection.
Are they laughing about it as they do it?
They're
Well.
horny.
Yeah. Okay. I did give a very horny objection. That's not necessarily how they talk in front of me. I don't think they seem like they're having fun.
Okay.
Like they
I mean,
enjoy arguing in a way that I don't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hate
yeah.
conflict.
Yeah. The lawyer-like questioning is like when you're baiting your partner to arrive at a particular answer, and you both know what that answer is going to be, and it makes your point very well, and you think you're being all clever. That's not a recipe for success.
Can you give an example of that?
I can. Like it would be something like if you'd be like, if someone was late, you'd be like, okay, no, but just out of curiosity, what time did you get in the car to come here? No, what time did you get in the car to come here? Just
exactly
answer the question. What time did you get in the car? Oh, it was 6:15. Okay, and we know that it takes 45 minutes to get here. So
That was
okay.
amazing.
Wow.
Toxic bitch.
As much as I loved the compliments earlier, I hated that.
Wow. Hulu TV's
Really?
Lisa Gilroy.
That's right.
Ask me anytime you need an example of the bottom list. I have them all.
Great. Any other questions from you three right now before we go to the audience questions?
Are you enjoying the show?
Yeah, this is fun.
Okay, that really felt like a lie. The way your voice went higher pitched. Okay, let's say your name and then ask your question.
Hi, my name's Davis. I host queer inclusive speed dating in Houston, and I'm typically like a matchmaker. And I was wondering about a time that y'all were a matchmaker, and if there was any success in that or any failures.
You didn't fly in from out of state for this show?
Oh, halfway. I'm in town for a conference, but also like I'm a fan. So
Wow,
I'm
amazing.
here.
Okay, great.
You could have
Thank
just
so much for being
lied
here.
to make Chris feel good.
You know what?
I said halfway.
Halfway, and that did it all the way for me. So that's great. Okay, great. No, you were asking. I assume you were asking Paul, the scientist, not all of us.
But I'm also curious. I mean, I feel like everyone has like maybe a matchmaker story or being match made.
Well, I'll just quickly say that I'm an anti-matchmaker, and every time I've ever tried to set people up, it has ended in disaster because I got too excited and was like, "So do you two love each other?" and then burned it out. And I'm not joking. That is truly. It's been a disaster every time. Have any of you successfully set up a partner?
I set my sister up on a blind date, and she married him.
Wow.
Can
How did you
believe
meet
it?
him? How did you know him?
I met him I was playing in a church band, and he was playing guitar, and my sister was dating a lot of like drug dealers, and I was like, this guy's short and he plays guitar. He's the antithesis to anything you've ever liked, and I think you'll really like him. And then they went on a date, and then they got married.
That's awesome. Okay. Either of you ever successfully done
I
it?
love to matchmake, and I have successfully set up some people who have dated for a decent amount of time, but ultimately did not end up together. And I think, I gave them 9 beautiful months together,
Absolutely.
so that is a success to me.
Just enough time for a baby. I have never successfully done it, nor have I ever been successfully set up. This is a challenge.
Usually at any given time, I know 12 incredible, beautiful, smart, funny women who are single and having a hard time. I know one guy, and I have to catch him in between relationships. I go,
Yes.
oh, he's single. And then I get to them, and they're like, I started dating somebody yesterday.
Yeah.
That's a great question for Paul. How come we have so many beautiful single women and no men?
Boy. Okay, so there are a lot of like sociological explanations for what's happening these days. I don't think historically it has always felt like this, but people in general are going out less often, and I think men are more likely to fall into that trap of forgetting to go out and hang out with people and hang out with friends. So I do think that's part of it. Like, they're out there, but they're just not out in society.
Men
in the
keep
same
forgetting
way.
to have friends.
All the good
Yes,
men.
yes.
All
So
the good
sad.
men are indoors forgetting that you need human
You
interaction.
gotta
There
be
you go.
knocking on doors like a Mormon missionary.
Yeah.
Have you heard the good news? It's my
I'm
ass.
single.
Now, we have also been talking about this in a heteronormative way, but you were talking about queer inclusive speed dating. Does your research ever cover people in same-sex relationships or trans people or non-binary people or any of that?
Totally. You know, we've done speed dating events for mixed gender couples. We've done, as part of our research, we've hosted events for gay men too. A lot of the things that appeal to people, at least on first dates, like appeal to men and women the same, appeal to people the same, whether they're gay or straight. You know, people are often looking for the same kinds of attributes in general. Nevertheless, especially when it comes to things like sex, you often find important differences there. My favorite example, this is not my research, but my favorite example is that we have this idea that women are wary of casual sex, and they are, but they're wary of casual sex with men. So bisexual women are way less worried about having casual sex with other women. And that's like one of these deep insights that you actually have to study people that are not in that heteronormative framework if you want to see that. So that's one
Interesting.
example of where we need that kind of research.
Wow.
Did that answer your question?
Thank you all so much.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for coming. And okay, can you tell us your name and ask us your question?
Sure. My name is Sarah. And can I give you like context, or I have to jump straight?
No. Yeah, please
Perfect.
give us
I just
context.
wanted to make sure this isn't like a therapy session, but I am curious.
I ask my therapist that all the time. Can I give you some context?
I know I'm paying you, but like, yeah. So I was dating a girl for like 9 to 10 months, but we never really like established a relationship. So like the first lesbians ever in the history of ever who were like averse to commitment, pretty much. And about a month ago, she came to me and told me that she wanted to like not see me anymore, but that she wasn't like breaking up with me. So my not girlfriend was also not breaking up with me. And I feel two ways about this. Like, I'm a little bit of a romantic and a little bit of an optimist. So part of me is thinking like, well, this is a good thing because it means that it's not definite and there's like this potential to come back together. But I'm also like not an idiot, and it feels like spending time apart doesn't usually lead to, like, if you're not actively problem solving, then like how are you going to fix the things that are wrong with your relationship? So I guess my question is, like, psychologically, what is in people's mind? Like, what can explain the phenomenon of like going on a break? Because I feel like I've never heard anybody go on a break and end up back together. And so, like, how likely is that it happens? If you could like feed my delusions a little bit, but also like, why do people choose to do that? Why are they delaying the inevitable if it is in fact inevitable?
Wait, I love that you asked this question. I feel
great
like I know
question.
so many people in this situation. And
Set us up. It's
I feel like I know a lot of people before they were with the person they ended up with. They broke up for a while, got back together. It's not always healthy. Some people could do that seesawing back and forth and just extend a relationship that's not going to work out. But I always like would break up, get back together because I was being difficult, and then I was like, but now they miss me. It's a toxic cycle. So if you want to get caught in one of those, kind of like I did, that's bad advice. Don't take that.
I like that you started one way and then talked yourself into the other way.
Well, sometimes you just break up so they can miss you more.
Oh, I think maybe I made a mistake. Yes. Paul?
I mean, on again, I do feel like I'm going to do exactly what you asked me to do, which is that on again, off again relationships are definitely a thing, and they're often more common than people realize. And the trajectory of a given relationship has a lot of ups and downs. So at least that is the science. Nevertheless, it's also useful to try to expand yourself in different directions when you're on a break, because worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to meet new people, develop new interests and stuff, and if you do get back together, you get to bring those things with you into that original relationship. So, there's some reason for optimism there, but it's also useful to think about what you can do in the meantime.
I also want to say, in a way that is confusing to me, someone in response to what you just said, which I thought was beautiful, wrote "daddy" in the online chat.
One of your students?
Could be. You got a fan out there. That's what
boy.
we'll say.
But
Also-
Paul, if there was people that were in a situationship like this and things were getting complicated, and they came to you and they said, I know you're not like a couples counselor, but if they were like, here are options, we're going to take a break or we're going to try to work on it, keep hammering away at it. What would you recommend?
I think the thing about going on a break is that you are adding considerable amount of unpredictability. So it's just more randomness tossed in there. So if the rut is bad, you could see why that would be the argument. But usually, again, if I were a counselor, which I'm not, I would gravitate more toward like, let's work this out. Are there other things we can try? How can we be creative here first?
I will.
Queer,
This is
queer speed dating in Houston.
absolutely
You gotta go check it out.
only a flight away. You're halfway there right now. Okay, can you tell us your name and your question?
Hi, I'm Emily. Lower this a little. My question's for Paul. As an expert in relationships, have you ever committed one of the bad red flags in an argument?
Absolutely.
And how do you kind of walk yourself back from it after?
I also just want to say I love how you clarified that this was only for Paul. Thank you so much.
Yeah, she heard my answer.
She was
and
like-
she said, that's
I
enough.
want to be clear, this is not for Lily. She can work that out on her own time. I paid for a ticket and I'll hear Paul. Okay. Paul.
I think the particular negative strategy that I gravitate towards is defensiveness. So if I even detect a hint of criticism, I have many explanations for why I did what I did. And I would like you to sit and listen to all of them. And I sometimes as I listen to myself do that, and I start to reflect on how boring I sound, then I try to come out of it and laugh about it. But it's not easy to do because I really do have an explanation for everything that I had done.
Lisa, care to make Paul feel defensive right now? Okay, it only
You
works.
want me to make you feel defensive?
Okay, well, let's actually see how some of this works in practice. Is there anyone who is brave and single in the audience who would let us talk to them for a moment? A single person. I will hold until someone volunteers. Oh, okay.
Sarah.
I do believe you're not allowed to volunteer someone you don't even know. Now I do see I do see people trying to encourage their friend over here to volunteer. Can we please talk to you?
This is not a stand-up show. Chris
No,
is
no.
not going to roast
Oh, we're not going to
you.
roast you. It's going to be, in fact, you may roast us. I'm looking directly at you, person who I want to
Free
volunteer.
advice.
Would you consider coming up here? Okay. Great. Okay. Thanks so much. One great thing about volunteering is if I don't give you a choice, you'll end up volunteering. Okay. Would you actually come up on stage, please? Yes.
To where? What seat?
Yeah. No. You're gonna stand up here for one moment.
Just standing?
Just. Yes. Come up here for 1 second.
Karen, did you ask if she wanted to lie down?
What is
Process.
what is your name? Carol. Okay, thank you so much for Carol. Thank you so much for volunteering.
Carol, come sit down for Christ's sake.
We have a very special seat for you, but
Oh,
to
okay,
introduce what we're gonna do, we're gonna first watch a clip from a video that Northwestern University produced about Paul's research. So we're all gonna watch that right now.
One popular way single people meet today is through speed dating. It's a bit like musical chairs, a series of short interactions or dates, some just 4 minutes long. When a social psychologist at Northwestern heard about the trend, he saw a great research project. That was 4 years ago.
Now, we're gonna see more from this incredibly produced video. I mean, just instantly of a place and of a time. But first, we are going to, Carol, we're going to have you do a little speed dating with us here. And this segment, panelist, is called Blind But Extremely Public Date. Okay, so Carol, if you wouldn't mind sitting right here, and if you can pick up that microphone and just hold it real close to your mouth so we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Each of our panelists is going to get 90 seconds to speed date you, and then afterwards, we will have you tell us who you felt like you had the best connection with. Okay. Great. And, okay, so let's, Karen, let's have you start.
Okay.
Will you please come up and date
Yes.
Carol?
Carol, for context, I like very scared men and very scary women. Okay. Hi.
Okay, and your 90 seconds begins now.
Hi. How are you doing today?
I'm nervous.
Oh my gosh, me too. We have so much in common. Carol, where did you grow up?
Right here in LA.
Oh.
Yeah.
And did you have a happy childhood?
I think as a fellow Korean, you probably.
I was Korean. Wait, we have to get married.
1 minute left. You're only 30 seconds in.
I brought you this rose. Okay, well, in case you want to learn about me.
I forgot that was a part of it.
I am scared of horses. And I love to read books. What do you like to do?
30 seconds.
Why are you scared of horses?
They're so big.
What kind of books do you like to read?
Oh, big books. Do you like to read?
Not really.
That's okay, we're both Korean.
Okay, and that's 90 seconds. Thank you so much. Great job. Carol and Karen, beautiful date. Oh no, stay down.
Oh, she's ready to go home with me.
Okay, wonderful. Lisa, it's your chance to go on a date with Carol, and your 90 seconds will start now.
Hi, sorry I'm late. There was a baby in trouble on the road and I was helping.
That's very sweet.
Carol, what a beautiful name. How do you spell it?
Carol.
C-A-R-O-L. Like Christmas.
Like a Christmas Carol, yeah.
What's your favorite Christmas carol? Oops. Sorry. Do you have a favorite?
I forgot.
And Carol,
maybe
you are allowed to ask questions as well, I will say.
Mine's Holy Night, because that's what this feels like right now. Do you have a pet?
No. Do you?
Yeah, I have a cat. Is that okay?
Yeah.
30 seconds.
How strong are you?
Pretty strong.
This table is so flimsy.
10 seconds left.
Scared.
Wow! Oh, Carol! And that's 90 seconds.
Strong. It was really nice to meet you. I'll be thinking about you.
Lily Doo, it's your turn to date Carol. I will say, I thought 90 seconds might be too short, but it only took 30 for Karen to propose marriage and for Lisa to move in for a kiss. So maybe we only needed 30 seconds.
How far can we get? Hi, Carol. I'm Lily.
Nice to meet you.
What brought you to this show tonight?
I just saw it on Instagram, and
Incredible.
so yeah.
Are you first or second gen?
Second, I think technically.
So your parents are immigrants.
Yes. Yeah.
Same. I'm Chinese. 안녕하세요.
Oh.
But I'm Chinese. I'm not Korean. That's just the thing. I know. How was it? Were they very traditional or?
Pretty traditional, but like I think they learned to trust me pretty early, and
Incredible.
yeah,
Wait, so you have a good relationship with them now?
I do. Yeah.
That's incredible. Wait, and then do you see them often because they're from LA?
Yeah.
Wait, that's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
nice. Okay, I have a terrible relationship with my parents,
Oh, I'm
but
so
you know, but that's okay.
Sorry
That's
to hear
okay.
that.
30 seconds.
Are they
I would
also
love
here?
to have a good relationship with your parents instead. You know. surrogate family.
Can I get any appetizers started for you guys?
This is your ex. Your toxic ex is here.
And 10 seconds left.
You want to hold my hand? Wait, so where in LA did you grow up? K-Town or
Highland Park.
Highland Park. Hasn't it changed so much since you grew up there?
And that is 90 seconds. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Okay, great. Thank you, Lily. You can go stay up there for 1 second. Carol, I just want to say, genuinely, you were charming. You were fantastic.
Amazing.
They were lucky to go on dates with you. You were fantastic. Now, unfortunately, this is the time where you have to tell us, who do you feel like took you on the best date?
I'll pay you $100.
Wow.
안녕하세요.
Can I get any appetizers started for you?
Really close call, but I like women who are direct. So the one that went for marriage.
Oh, wow.
Yes!
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And-
Mwah.
Great. Carol, thank you so much. Give Carol a big round of applause.
Carol!
You usually that right there. Yep. Okay, so Paul, you did a study where you looked at 4,500 blind dates. So you've seen literally thousands of blind dates. How did these dates compare to the dates that you've studied?
Believe it or not, a lot of similarities. Fewer proposals within 30 seconds.
Cowards.
And less arm wrestling.
Not on my dates, honey.
Right?
I want to say you were also, they were seriously trying, both of you.
No,
you were going for
both
it.
so
Oh yeah,
strong.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're actually a perfect match, Carol, and I
In
let
terms
you
of
in.
strength.
But romantically and strength-wise, we are a match.
But usually what people are doing is they are hunting for similarities with the basic stats, right? Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Are you Korean? I mean, these are the kinds of things that...
Those are the three
you
main
Korean?
questions.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know.
And is that a good move, or is that just like what we do? Is that actually
Yeah,
like
is
an
it just
effective?
what we do to ask people if they're Korean?
Because I've been told I need to stop.
It often works. I mean,
In Los
it
Angeles,
worked
it
in
does
this
often
case, clearly. But there are better ways. Avoiding the resume exchange, right? And it seems weird, but launching more quickly than you think into deeper questions. I mean, actually, where you talked about how nervous you were.
Yes.
That's actually a good example of the
Oh.
kind of thing. It's like a bit of a deeper reflection of what's going on right now. But I don't know, like, who do you see yourself being in 5 years? And, are you afraid of death? I mean,
That's a good one.
yeah, like, these are the kinds of questions that build intimacy between people actually rather quickly if you'll get them to seriously engage with it.
Wait, so genuine question. How many questions in are you asking, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Maybe that would be more like a 30-minute.
30 minutes in.
Yeah, 30 minutes in. Yeah, you wouldn't do
Not
with
here.
just a
We
few
only
minutes.
had 90 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What do you think about what's your favorite Christmas carol as a starter, though?
It's good.
I
It's
thought that
good.
was fun.
It's good. It's very creative.
Okay. Great. Well, we saw the first part of that video that Northwestern made about you. Let's watch a little bit more of that clip.
For Finkel and graduate student Paul Eastwick, the idea for speed dating research came up 4 years ago. In class, they were having a discussion about the onset of initial attraction.
Right. So what happens in between that first moment that you meet somebody and actually establishing and maintaining a relationship with that person?
And somebody said a great way to study that would be speed dating. So I think we started joking that it would be fun to take a field trip. And then we did. We took one.
That's right. The single professor went speed dating. For real. With single grad students in tow.
I left the one event with two predominant feelings. One was, that was awesome. What a good time. I would do that again. And the second one was, and what a spectacular way to study attraction.
What's been gratifying for these scientists since their work on speed dating began, their research has been getting widespread attention. Also gratifying, since they started this study, both Eli Finkel and Paul Eastwick got engaged. We wondered if they were able to find great partners by applying what they've learned.
Paul has some natural proclivities in the domain of women, but I had to use every trick in the book.
I don't think I was ever very good at applying anything scientific to my personal life. See, I think other people will be able to apply this stuff better than I ever could.
He's lying. I know all of his manipulations.
Well, first of all, I would just like to ask any reactions you have to that video.
When they said you guys got engaged, I thought they meant to each other.
It definitely did seem like that. Also, the look on your face when he says, but he's got a lot of tricks with the women. And you were like, I don't like you phrasing it like that. It is interesting that he was your graduate advisor. Yeah. I love that he was like, I love speed dating. I'll be back again, and I'll do it professionally as well. I feel like it doesn't seem like speed dating often has that effect on people, that they love it so much they want to do it again.
I think that's right. Eli is, a hell of an extrovert, and, he loves meeting new people. And he was also big on, I'm going to bring he actually brought a bunch of 3x5 cards that had those deeper questions on it. So he would get on the date.
Do you remember what some of them were?
I mean, some of them were things like, if you had a crystal ball and learn anything about your life or the future, what would it be?
Whoa. Okay, all of you, answer. Mine would be, where will I live in 10 years? Should I stay where I am right now?
That's the question you want to ask?
Yeah.
A crystal ball?
Yeah, I guess that. Oh, I probably should have asked is, what is the lottery numbers for next drawing? But that is what I would ask right now, because I feel like deciding where to live seems like a big life change that I can't decide on.
I feel like mine would be like, how tall will I get?
Oh, honey.
I'm so sorry to tell you.
We never know. You never know.
We know. We know. Any other? What would you ask a crystal ball?
How many more kids should I have? And then whatever they tell me, I'll do it. It's not up to me. It's up to the ball.
Wow.
I guess I'd want to know, will I ever be Korean?
Honey, I'm sorry.
Okay. What would you ask?
Geez. I don't know, like what, where should we, boy. See, I haven't gone on dates in a long time.
Dinner tonight.
Use the tricks that you use on women.
Some of your
I was
sorcery.
very clear I did not have these tricks.
Your mystery mind games.
Oh, I think I'd also like to know where it's going to be the best place to buy property in 30 years,
Wow,
given
okay.
climate change.
Stealing my question.
I
Yeah.
actually know the answer to that, and it's Duluth, Minnesota.
Is that it?
This is
Okay.
real. This is from a study a couple
Crystal
years
ball,
ago.
thank you.
Yeah.
Duluth, Minnesota.
What do you think about speaking of tricks for women, what do you think about those books like The Game and stuff where guys are like, you got to be mean
Pickup
to girls? Like,
artistry.
yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
What do you think? You're cute for a professor, Neg.
Yeah.
No, just
That's a good neg.
Paul, just answer the question. Just say what you think. Just literally say what you think.
I think that a lot of those ideas are based in things that they act like they're scientifically founded, and most of them are pretty far off base. Those techniques were honed in very particular populations at particular times, and they got a lot of
Viper
attention.
Room.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. And-
Is there like a scientifically proven pickup line? Or pickup technique that we could write a book about?
No, I mean, the closest thing to something that's scientifically validated is to the extent that you have questions that can help you find similarities quickly in a conversation, that really is the best way to go. Anything that's going to cultivate a little bit of confidence alongside that is probably the most scientifically validated thing.
What if are you allowed to lie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I met you and I was like, oh my God, I love your sweater. I have the exact same sweater.
Wow.
Then suddenly we're like bonded. You're like, wow, we have the same sweater, but I'm lying. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's totally fine. It's totally fine.
I thought you were lying because you hate the sweater, but now I understand you're lying that you don't have the same sweater. So that would work.
Back to motivated reasoning, like part of the idea is that people can find interests together. So if you're lying about having a sweater and then that lie is going to come up at some point, that's maybe not the best idea. But something that at least maybe a little bit of like, I might feign interest in something or act like maybe I had a little bit of knowledge about something just to get the conversation going. I mean, honestly, sometimes the best conversations are where you get somebody else excited about something and then you hope that excitement is infectious.
Someone asked online, are there any dating apps that you think are better for people to create connections?
I mean, dating apps mostly work because of the volume, right? The more people you're getting to meet, the better, you have a better chance of hitting it off with somebody. But I've not seen any evidence that, some of these apps have the secret sauce behind the scenes. I mean, there are going to be different populations of people, so you might generally find as you go on dates with one app versus another that you're having more fun on certain dates rather than others.
I'll say I've gone to 3 Hinge weddings, never gone to a Grindr wedding.
I mean,
Craigslist wedding.
That's data. That's data. That's real data.
Yeah. I have a question about the apps in general, which is, I'm very happy that I'm with my wife and like that. I think she's great. My current. I'm very happy that I'm with my first current wife, and I think that she's great and we have a great relationship. But we were friends first, and I think that for both of us, we weren't what we thought we wanted in a partner, and that's ended up being the reasons why has worked for so long. Like, I think I would have picked, if you gave me just like, make a list of like personality traits. The things
Plays guitar.
Yeah, short plays guitar. Gives me a Nickelback CD in my locker. And then, you know what I mean? I think I'm bad at knowing what actually is good for me in the long run.
So this is one of the issues with the apps is that people can really get in their heads. And I'm only going to swipe left. That's the good one.
No,
it's right. See, I haven't been on the apps.
Oh, I'm on them.
Yeah, actually, that does relate to, someone asked, what year was that documentary made?
2006.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
You're aging beautifully. For a professor.
Wow.
What the fuck?
Lily, that was so
beautifully. For a professor, Neil Strauss told me it works in the game.
I do think it's a high level neg.
You're
and it's
negging
working.
him. Okay.
I don't think it's
I
negging. I think it's straight up aggression.
I thought it was like misplaced sarcasm because I didn't understand the for a professor part.
He's crying.
I did appreciate it.
Okay.
But you bring up 2 key things. People can really get in their heads about what they want, but honestly, the correlation between what people think they're looking for and what actually appeals to them is pretty darn close to zero, right? So you can spend all this time cultivating your perfect set of online dates, but in the end, it's probably a coin flip.
Why are people so fixated on height?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's going to matter to people more if they're filtering on it, right? It's very easy to filter people on like straight numbers like that. But face-to-face, it's not that height doesn't matter face-to-face, but again, it's going to have less of an impact when people are meeting face-to-face.
So, Paul, let's talk a little bit more about your findings. We're coming toward the end of the show, but we have some time to quickly get into your actual results. We don't normally have scientists on this show present their actual results because it can get too in the weeds, but your work is so fascinating and you're so good at explaining it that I think we're going to make an exception. So I'm going to ask you to show us a couple of charts and graphs from your research findings. These are the same slides that you would use like if you were at a scientific conference, but we're going to have you explain them as simply as you can. So we're calling this segment, a picture is worth 1,000 words, a graph is worth 7. So Paul, instead of giving you 1,000 words to explain each of these images, I'm going to give you the same number of words as are in the phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words, which is 7 words. So we will look at your slides, and then you have 7 words to explain to us what that slide means. So first slide. Okay, 7 words about this slide that can make us understand.
All right. Are you a high-value mate? Tricky question.
Okay. All right.
8 words.
Oh,
no, it's hyphenated.
I actually don't think a hyphen changes the number of words, but we will.
No, what?
Continue.
It absolutely
Next slide.
does.
7 words
okay,
on this.
okay. Consensus about mate value declines eventually.
Okay, I have a follow-up question about that, which
Yeah.
means that like we all think like, wow, Brad Pitt is hot. Then we find more information out about Brad Pitt, and we go, troubling.
Yeah. There you go.
Consensus has declined. Is that exactly what it means?
Yeah. But also it goes the other way.
Okay.
So some people have maintained their positive impression of Brad Pitt as they've gotten to know him. So the opinion spreads over
We
time.
would say those people are gaslit.
And I would say I'm lowering my opinion of them.
But what about like you meet someone and you're like, oh, not like you meet someone and you're like, that is not a good partner. And then you see like, wow, they actually are kind of thoughtful.
Exactly.
You like them. Now there's a difference.
Well, so the idea behind this graph is that, look, there is reasonable...
Oops, there's your 7 words.
Oh, wait, no, I...
What, you gonna hyphenate all that?
Well, people agree pretty well when they're looking at photographs or they're meeting people initially. But if you've got a situation where people are repeatedly interacting, our agreement about who's hot, our agreement about who would be a desirable partner just starts to dissipate as opinions change, right? Because they don't all change in the same direction. So what that means is that, like, if you're super hot, if you're super popular, good for you. You can kill it by meeting people for the first time.
I love that you look directly at me for that. I
Yeah.
really do.
But if you're not, then getting to know people over time gives you a chance to at least become idiosyncratically desirable to some other people.
Okay. Next slide. 7 words here.
Men and women say they differ. Nope.
Okay.
Wait, what does this mean?
Okay, tell us more. We want to know what we want. More than 7 words on this one.
If you ask men and women, how much do you care about the attributes, physical attractiveness, and earning prospects in a partner, you will get differences. That's what's on the left.
Oh.
If you look at how much they actually care about it, so how much does attractiveness actually appeal to you? If you go speed dating in an actual romantic partner in real life, there's no difference.
I see.
Earning prospects, also no difference. Doesn't matter as much as attractiveness, but no gender difference.
Now, when you say physical attractiveness doesn't matter, is that because you are like objectively rating all the people and you're like, they said they care about physical attractiveness, but they went with a 5?
And what was
Yeah, Paul, how do you know?
Yeah, like how do you judge that?
So in this case, imagine, okay, so imagine, for example, you go speed dating, and you've dated all of these different people, and I can look to see, did you gravitate towards the hot people? Okay.
But again,
So you agree?
Sorry. Yeah, so it could be as like rated by this other set of people who are like looking at their photographs, but it also could be your ratings too.
Oh.
Right? That you really tend to gravitate towards the people you think are hot. Either way, it's the same conclusion, right? And it's not, you do care about hotness. But the point is that so do women.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I think my husband is so handsome and hot, but then I've told him the other celebrity men that I find attractive, and it's made him go, am I the ugliest man in the world? Because of who I've said. So what does that mean?
I literally, I want to say, I've had this exact same conversation with my wife where she's like, here are some of my celebrity crushes. And I'm like, these are all people who play hobos in movies. Like, they are the before pictures.
It like doesn't really matter because he thinks that you're gorgeous, and that's what matters at the end of the day. I mean, that really is like why. I mean, to get back to the earlier slides, the important component here is that these judgments differ. So you don't have to be consensually desirable to have your partner think that you're a 10. And it's like so hokey, but it is so clearly the message of the science.
Wow. Karen, you want to ask them?
No, I was just gonna say that makes sense because some of my friends are like really hot women dating really ugly men, but they seem really happy. So to them,
There you
he
go.
is handsome.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. I believe we have one more.
Short-term relationships are relationships that flopped.
Oh, so like the idea of like a one-night stand.
So the challenge with it's very tempting to think that like one-night stands belong in a different category than long-term relationships, and you're gonna use different strategies to get one versus the other. But the reality is, if you look at people's real-life hookups, even their one-night stands, when they're getting to know these people, they don't know where this thing is going. Often, like until they hook up and it's like not great. That's the thing you call a one-night stand, but you're calling it that in retrospect because it wasn't great. If it was great, then you try to do it again.
Interesting. Okay. Last one.
Okay. Online daters stay for date number 3.
Oh, okay. So after 3 dates, you pretty much have the impression that you're going to have this person.
It's going to be stable for a while.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Lily just looked at me and said 3 dates. Yes, Lily, I will.
Go on 3 dates. When we were driving over, you talked about someone who you went on 3 dates with, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, because he had no sense of humor.
Well, you gave him 3 dates.
He was so nice. The pickings were slim. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that actually seems like you would say scientifically that was the right.
That was a good
approach.
that was a good use of your time.
Wait, this is incredible
Yeah.
to
That's
know.
why I looked at you and I said 3
Oh my
days.
God, thank
Yeah.
you. Finally, this show
Yeah.
is coming in handy.
Yeah.
All it took was the final few minutes, and it came in
This is
handy.
the 3rd date of this show.
Oh, that's true.
Wait, third impressions are as good as it gets for a while.
Yeah.
It says. Like, when does it get better after that?
I mean, so that you can sort of see how it slopes up gradually from there. And eventually, like when you're married to somebody, your impression of them actually doesn't change all that much from day to day. But when you're first getting to know somebody, right, what you're doing is you're approaching that plateau of stability, right? So probably, as you get out to interacting with somebody 10, 20 times, the odds are that on the 21st time, your opinion isn't going to be all that different.
Sometimes women date men that are pretending to be doctors and they're not. And they married them. And they were together for 10 years. You know these podcasts?
I thought you were about to say that you're in a relationship where they think you're a doctor.
So her impressions changed a little.
Right.
Wait, this actually makes
Can
so
happen.
much sense to me. This is something
Yeah.
my friends and I talk about because we're like, on the first date, you can both be really nervous. So you're
Yeah.
not being
Yeah.
your normal self. On the second date, they could have had a bad day. And then the third date is when you realize, they should be comfortable. Wow.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
would you say people, for the most part, should give a date that's going, okay, 3 chances?
Yeah. And even if the first date is just kind of okay, that's the part nobody wants to do.
Wait, I didn't know that. I have to go back to my phone now.
Okay. If you have other audience questions, you can come up now. But in the meantime, we're going to move on to Paul. So Paul and the other scientist who was in that video with him, you two actually co-host a podcast about rom-coms that is called Love Factually. And this is the...
Cute!
And so, panelists, since you are also a passionate dissector of romantic comedies, I'm wondering if anyone has like a moment from a rom-com that they think about a lot.
Go ahead.
No.
I mean, I just watched Bridget Jones' Diary last night, and it's making me think of this, because Mr. Darcy is like the rude one that she doesn't like, and then slowly over time she's like, he's the one.
It's perfect.
And Karen, do you have one?
Not a specific moment, the entire movie You've Got Mail, I think about maybe once a week. Yeah. But when she's writing to him and he's like, she doesn't know who he is, every time I send an email to someone I've never met, I'm like, this could be Tom Hanks.
It could be.
I mean, it's an amazing example of how you're interacting with the same person in 2 different contexts, and they seem like 2 totally different people.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
So many of those relationships in Love Actually are toxic.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. That movie's kind of a mess.
Well, actually, what is the least scientifically accurate rom-com that you've ever seen?
So, I mean,
Lady and the Tramp, because dogs don't eat spaghetti.
Oh yeah, it seems like it'd be really bad for them.
I'm sorry, but if you don't say that's the least scientific one, then I don't trust a damn thing you're about to say.
I didn't think of that. That is really excellent. I think The Notebook has a lot of things going for it, but love cures dementia in that movie. So that actually isn't possible.
No.
Yeah, but it's
I've been
it's
putting
very
my Nana on dates.
but there are a lot of teen rom-coms that have the trope of consensus about mate value is perfect, and there's a hierarchy and a pecking order, and they sometimes interrogate it, but sometimes don't. 10 Things I Hate About You. Heath Ledger was very charming, but that movie does lean into these ideas that, like, some people are undateable, or at least they're undateable, like, until you, like, soften the feminism. Like, that's not great.
What is the most accurate movie?
This is going to sound like pandering to the crowd, but it's probably La La Land.
Really?
Because they don't end up together.
Wait, that's so sad.
But
Also, that's a movie where
But-
people jump out of their cars and start singing on the freeway.
yeah.
isn't that what you do?
Haven't you
What else do
seen
you
the
do in the
movie?
traffic? Yeah. But also at the end, we see how the relationship could have turned out differently if they'd made different choices. And
What
that's
about that
yeah.
scene in 500 Days of Summer where they do the split screen?
That is an incredible scene. It's an incredible scene, and it really does reflect, like, when people get very optimistic about getting back together, and then you have the moment and it doesn't work. That's a great scene.
Okay, I think we have a question over here. Can you say your name?
My name's Georgia. My
Hi, Georgia.
question is dating in LA actually trash, or is it all in our heads? Is it, like, can you speak about dating in large cities? Is it different than dating elsewhere?
That's a great question.
I think one of the challenges with dating, and this is whether you're doing it through the apps or doing it through other avenues, is that it can kind of feel like you just keep dating the same version of a person over and over again. And it can be hard to get the change of scenery that you need. And so usually when people are, again, I'm not a therapist or a counselor, but if I were giving people advice, I would suggest, how far can you push the boundaries of where you're meeting people? Because that's really the primary avenue that people have. If you really want to date, like, a certain kind of person rather than a different kind of person, it's just about meeting those people in the first place. Because if you keep dating the same losers over and over again, the problem is you're going to fall for one of them.
Profound.
So this is like the main challenge, right?
You gotta go to a new place, like
yeah.
the sewers.
Yeah. You could try it. Yes, but this I do think is the problem, is the change of scenery thing can be really hard for people to do, but it's probably the most effective avenue for actually, changing your prospects.
Can you give a few examples of different sceneries in
Like,
LA?
I mean, it could be other cities.
To meet a good partner.
Yeah.
But you want to
Other-
be in LA,
yeah,
right, Georgia?
Yeah.
Wait, you weren't.
Yeah, but
were
I'm
you
not-
literally saying you should move to a new city?
That's like, it's kind of the last resort. But people have a lot of. Haven't
I
you
thought
ever
it was
known those
metaphorical
people? No.
I thought it was like go to a used bookstore.
It's like imagine a circle expanding outwards, and like
Well, let's
eventually.
say Georgia's on a 5-year lease. She's
Yeah.
got to stay.
Yeah. Okay.
How would you?
Okay.
How could we get to a different scenery?
So I don't know LA super well, but I would imagine
Do
that.
you not live here?
No. I live in Sacramento.
Oh my God, get out of town.
I know.
You don't even know us.
Wait, do you mean things like
Yeah.
if you always go to work and the same coffee shop?
Yep.
Like, go to a different coffee shop.
Yeah, right.
Go to the movies.
Yes.
But like you're not gonna find a different kind of guy in a different kind of coffee shop, are you? Unless one of the coffee shops is like in the bottom of the ocean or something.
This is a good question, which is if I wanted to marry a doctor, should I just keep going to the ER?
That's probably. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, Georgia, what kind of person are you looking for?
Yeah, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
You know, like an outdoorsy guy.
Oh, go outside!
Wait, have you thought about joining a run club? Do you like to run?
Everyone's joining run clubs.
That sounds good.
But is that good advice?
Yes. This is good advice. But I'm sure you've heard it before. Or maybe not.
Oh, I've heard joining a run club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it.
But you don't
Okay.
want to.
No, I'm part of you.
Oh,
That's a good, that seems like a good place to meet
Okay,
a guy if
but
you
it
can
sounds like
catch
she
him.
hasn't met.
Actually talk while running.
Wait, other
Yeah, can anyone-
outdoorsy places.
You could
Rock climbing?
Rock climbing gym.
Those are
Hiking.
indoors.
Yeah.
So is it mostly like clubs or apps? Or
I
I guess
think-
the other kinds of clubs.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, that's a useful way to think about it. I mean, clubs are the original apps. I mean, right before there were the apps,
Ira said, entrees.
you had to meet people, usually bonding over shared interests in some way, shape, or form.
You're talking club like a social organization
Yes,
club,
yeah.
not like
Right,
Okay.
right, exactly.
That's a classic too.
Yeah, yep, that's true. And a lot of people meet in the club and get married. That is also possible.
Okay. Well,
Hey,
Georgia,
they
I'd
didn't
say
write Love in
so
a
I've
Club for
heard.
nothing.
in some ways, I think the answer we give you is the dating scene is as trash as you think it was.
She already left. I was waiting
She was like-
for her to say, "If I got to think of
I'm
some
gonna-
more clubs." She's
Speaking
gone.
about outdoorsy, I'm going to leave these doors right now. Okay. Well, for the final segment on this show, we're going to get a chance to learn a little bit more about what Paul is like outside of his research in a game of two truths and a lie. So, panelists, which of these are true and which is the lie? Paul taught windsurfing in high school. Paul trained briefly to be a sommelier. We spelled it wrong. And in the early aughts, Paul was in a hybrid Dave Matthews / Coldplay band named Barefoot Landing. Which of these is true and which are true and which is the lie?
Listen, Paul, we've all gotten drunk on red wine a few times. So what do you mean briefly trained? Can we ask follow-up questions?
Yeah. Well, you can try to not give away which is the lie, but answer the follow-up question.
Yeah,
How
say where you
briefly?
studied then. No, Paul, look at me. Say where you studied.
And make eye contact.
Hypothetically, there are classes that one can
Could
take.
Wow, he's
Okay.
getting
Over
defensive.
Yes.
I think the first one is a lie because you taught at UC Davis. I feel like lots of wine country up there. You could be a sommelier. And the third one, Dave Matthews and Coldplay, you are white. So I feel like 2 and 3 definitely true.
But why does it say hybrid, Dave? Why does it need to be hybrid when their styles are so similar already?
It was called Barefoot Landing. Is that a joke I don't get?
No, it was. I mean, it could just be the name of a band.
Sometimes
That's
when
all.
a secret is really specific, it's the lie or it's real.
That is true. Now, that is undeniably true. That's definitely true.
That's how Lily's caught every boyfriend that's ever cheated on her.
You're cheating on me, and that's either true or not.
Or it's not.
Okay, let's go down the line. Lily, which do you think is the lie?
I think. No, start at Karen.
Okay, Karen, which do you think is the lie?
1.
I think 1 is the lie as well.
Okay, and Lily?
Then I'll say 3.
Okay, and it was a trick. They're all true. Okay.
I want
And
Chris!
we've got the photos to prove it. Here's windsurfing.
Whoa.
Here's
Where's the wind, Paul?
one of the first lessons. You got to have the wind. Okay, next one. There's sommelier class.
This looks like a stock photo. With the women in the back, those are actors.
And next up, that is Barefoot Landing.
Wow.
And that's what I thought and hoped Barefoot Landing would look like.
We've got another photo of Barefoot Landing. There we go.
Wow.
Okay, and Paul, sadly, you were actually kicked out of Barefoot Landing.
Yes,
which
I
forever
was.
changed the course of your life.
Yep. I mean, then I went to grad school.
Wait,
So
why did you get kicked out?
I wasn't like good on stage.
Oh, you had stage fright?
No, I don't.
Or so you were bad off stage as well. You just added
Yeah.
on
I wasn't what they were looking for. I wasn't their type.
which was someone who is in
Is-
Dave
is
Matthews
good.
Band. Oh, okay. What happened to them? Are they successful?
I truly have no idea.
Well, it looks like they gave you 3 shows at least to find out.
Exactly.
We only saw 2, but
their impression was very stable after that third show.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they were like, third show, this is as good as it's gonna get for a while.
Paul, you're out of here. Okay, we are coming to the end of the show, so let's get some final questions if you have any. I will also say one final question from the audience is, has Karen reached a plateau of stability with this show?
Oh, yeah, I feel really stable. I feel very calm. I feel like as soon as the show ends, I'm going to break down.
Okay, great.
You learned about the 3-date thing.
Yeah, that's true. That genuinely helpful information. Yeah.
Okay. Any other final questions from the live audience here? Okay, that's fine. Great. Carol, how are you doing? Okay, great work.
Did you fall more in love with us?
Yeah, okay. Okay, so before we go, Paul, what do you hope that tonight's audience members will take away from the show?
I mentioned motivated reasoning earlier. I do think this is a useful principle for people to reflect on because people have to find the things to love about their partners. They have to find a way of compartmentalizing the things that aren't so great. And it is also possible to go too far with that motivated reasoning. And this is like the great tension of relationships in terms of, knowing whether you're happy or not. So I always tell people, like, you can know that you're being motivated, but also, like, reflect on it and ask yourself if you're being a little too motivated.
Okay, panelists, that's what Paul hopes that you'll take away from tonight's show. Karen, what will you actually be taking away?
Wait, what? I guess probably the 3-date thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And attractiveness does not matter. Right?
Consensus.
I'm gonna go for real uggos.
Yes. Consensus about your attractiveness. It matters that you think somebody's hot.
Oh,
but whether
yes.
the rest, everybody else thinks that person's hot, doesn't matter.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Lisa, what will you be taking away from tonight's show?
I thought it was very interesting to learn the thing about, what was it? It was a picture of cups we were shown, wasn't it, gang? And I'm not sure what happened about it, but I remember thinking that it was interesting because
You're going to take away cups.
I think actually a graphic design lesson is helpful as well.
it was like what you said about commonalities between people can be really strong at first and then they kind of dissipate over time. And I just had a conversation with a friend about like how actors seem to fall in love with each other on movie sets and then they divorce their partners and then that fizzles too. And I just don't understand why people do that because I'm like I've always kind of inherently known that, but to see it in the science is cool. Because I think a lot of people can be like tempted away from their relationships and I'm like, that guy's gonna turn into just as much of a loser as you think your current husband is now.
Yeah. And I mean, it is a reality that the honeymoon period does end, and you can build a good relationship the second time around or the third time around, but they do take work, and you've got to like build the patterns around the things that work for you, and you can't assume that whatever magic was happening on that set when you got together in the first place is just going to stay with you over time.
So true. Give it up for Barefoot Landing!
Landing! Let's hear their hit song in 3, 2, 1. Hit it!
I like that you did kind of like go into playing the instrument though.
It's muscle memory.
Yeah. Lily, what will you be taking away from tonight's show?
That I am toxic. Based on that list, I really had a takeaway, and it was in my head, but an idea is only in my head for about 2 seconds these days, and then
That's beautiful.
It's gone. Oh, the asking questions that are really right away. I realized, okay, wow, that is good that I used to ask people on dates if they were afraid of dying. One of yours.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, because I'm afraid of dying.
It also kind of feels like a threat if you say it to someone.
Yeah. I also was like, do you think people are obligated to love their families?
Are you afraid of dying? Okay, great. Well, sad to know that you are off the market.
And hey,
Thanks so
Chris,
much.
sad to know you're back on it, brother.
Everyone loses at tonight's episode of Wrong Answers Only. That is it for tonight. Thank you so much to tonight's expert, Paul Eastwick, and to our panelists, Karen Chee, Lisa Gilroy, and Lily Dew. Thank you to everyone at the National Academy of Sciences and LabX, in particular, Carrie, Noir, and Ann. And thank you to the incredible staff here at Dynasty Typewriter. Give them a big round of applause. Dax, Trent, Samuel, Liam, Sophia, Austin, and everyone else. I'm your host, Chris Duffy, and this has been Wrong Answers Only. Thank you so much.
Never made it as a wise man. I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man. I'm sick aside without a sense of feeling. And this is how you remind me. This is how